just try to get the surface a little bit cleaner. You really need a parts car with one of these, which I don't have. But they're big cars, you know, so it's not like I can park 2 Corvairs in the spot of one of these cars, so that car's always been a good deal for myself. You know, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to, I'm not in a room where I can use a pressure washer, but I'd like to get into here. But I'm going to try to do that at another time. All right, we got a lot done. I got everything clean. I started putting on the OSPHO here. Let me get some light up here. Should have done that first. Yeah, so what this stuff does is that it's going to turn black as it dries, but you identify first the rest of your areas, especially the areas you're not going to be able to get to later on because the tank is going to get here. And then you apply it. You know, rust is like a fungus. You really can't stop it. It just keeps growing, even if it stays dry. And this phosphorus coating somehow stops that. Very simple. So like where I can start seeing the rust flake up in here, these holes in the trunk. The sheet metal here is actually pretty strong. It's pretty whole, pretty solid. But you want it to stay that way. This car really deserves a rotisserie job. And I've never done anything like that, so I'm not sure where to start. But at least I can slow down the rust in the structural areas. So that's what I'm doing with the OSPHO product here. And you can spray it with primer when you're done. You can put POR 15 when you're done. And I did get these brake lines in, you can see here. I'm gonna have to wait till I get the springs in to put that hose because the differential is too low. The hose can't reach. What was the other thing here? Oh, I'd like to get this stabilizer bar. It was an option. I guess this car doesn't have every option, but yeah, there is a stabilizer bar that connects down in here for the rear of this big monster. All right. Next step I've been doing is getting the fluid out of this differential, and the stuff is so nasty and so thick. I had to put detergent engine flush in there just to get it to where this pump here in my hand can pick it up. And I had another predicament. I had to put the axle back in just to rotate the innards just a little bit to move that stuff around. But as you can see, see if you can see that on the camera. It's really nasty, thick sludge. Let's see if I can get that. Pretty much everything you touch is just covered in this nasty stuff. I didn't want to get it all over the. See, it even sticks the pump. And I have another Mighty Vac vacuum pump. There you go. See that? I have a Mighty Vac, and it's too thick for it. So I'm going to try something different. I'm going to put a rubber hose on here that's kind of bent. Look at that. But it wouldn't do that before. The engine flush, which is a detergent base, acts like a demulsifier. And then I'm going to put a box under here with a bunch of paper in it and all that stuff and clean this differential off. Let's see if I can see the differential code. Oop, look at that. It got on the cement. What a freaking mess. All right, now I think I got most of it out of there. Look at this. Let's see here. Can you see enough on the, what? Let's do it this way. Extremely thick, nasty stuff. Look at this. Blah. That's heavier than a 250 weight. It's like an engine brake is what thick differential fluid does like that. Somebody either this differential here has some serious wear, or it had a leak and someone stuck something in there. I'd rather have the leak than the significant loss in performance. I did look up, I cleaned it up and I found the code on the differential, and it's a O on there, which means it's a 308, which I'm very happy. That's exactly what I was hoping it was. With a very high horsepower engine, that'll cruise really nicely down the highway. But yeah, this stuff is still coming out. It doesn't even hold a lot of fluid, but that stuff is so heavy. Okay, now that I've got this differential thing under control, and I got the bad stuff out, and I just threw in another non-GL5 just to act as a flush. I put some 2050 I had sitting around. I mean, it's thick. A 50 weight equals a 90 weight gear oil, but I could just go around the block a few times, use that as a non-harmful flushing agent. Then we'll put another GL5 in there. So we got that taken care of. Now, before I put together the rear suspension parts, I thought I would take a break from that and start on the fuel line, and then we'll put the gas tank in. So yeah, this 3/8 fuel line is a factory replacement, pre-bent from one of those brake line pre-bent companies. So it's a two-piece. There's one that goes, there's the body full length. You just got to straighten it out. It's as you can see here, it's folded so it could fit in the box. And the second piece there is the engine part that goes from the bulkhead of the engine to the fuel pump. So we're going to do that, and then we'll put the gas tank in and then work on the fuel return. Because this is an air-conditioned car, Pontiac installed what you call a vapor lock preventive device, and that's this. I already took the glass part off because I was making a new gasket that fits up in here because it just dissolved. So this is your return, and there's a rusty portion I'm going to cut off and splice in a new part. This isn't too critical because it's just low pressure. And then we'll get the suspension done, and then we'll get back to the engine here. So that's the chain of events here, and let's get started. And just before I get to the fuel line, which, you know what, I just got a new tripod. That's a plus. And I got some new lighting on the way. But yeah, there's that fuel line there. That's the front half. But anyway, I forgot to finish this side of the stabilizer bar, so I just put up the jack so I can get some threads on this thing with the socket wrench on there. And this will get it started there. Yeah. Ain't that nice? Nice and snug. I'm going to go back and play with this because I want the suspension to move around so this thing seats properly. So that's more than enough, much more than enough. We'll see how that works out. Now back to what we came here for, and that's the fuel lines. Okay, so there's the new brake line through here, and it's got clips. I'm gonna, can you see it? It's right here. So it's got clips to attach it to the frame, but just getting it up in there without bending it all to pieces and over that X frame, that was really something. But I got it done. And then here is the fuel line. And that junction there, it's badly corroded. This is the return line. And I'm going to replace part of that line. I got a replacement part for that, but the main fuel line is really bad. And you can see as we go to the back here, and someone tie wrapped the positive cable for the fuel pump, which we'll take care of too. And I hope that camera's not too jumpy for you. So let me get this off and get the other one in. Incidentally, I believe that is the emergency brake cable. Or is that the speedometer? Yeah, it's the emergency brake cable right here. Speedometer cable is probably not far from there. There's the power glide. No, somebody failed to put a transmission gasket in there. They just made their own. That's horrible. So easy to get one too. So we got to pull that off. And that's what this mess everywhere is. Big, big mess. Jeez. Jeez. Oh, that's one that's never been out of there. Bit of struggle in there, got it undone. Okay, here's the fuel line, got that done. The varnish didn't drip out all over the floor. It's a very nasty, sweet smell of fuel. That wasn't too tough though. And now the next thing to do is take the front fuel line piece out, which somebody at one point cut in half. So it's a rubber hose part of the way. We've got that right there. That's the metal part, if you can see down in there. There's another filter that's full of varnish. So let's get these lines off of the fuel pump. I have a new fuel pump for this too. I don't know if this one's good or bad, but I'm going to get rid of it anyway. This is one of the non-rebuildable types, I believe. I found over here, somebody above the starter, somebody did replace another freeze plug, but this one right here, I'm gonna have to replace that one soon. And then I forgot to put big enough washers on the bottom of the shock absorbers, so that's next. But look here, okay. Let me pull this line out, see what happens. Varnished, oh wow, there you go. A little bit of fuel in that, not a lot. Just trying to get this clamp up. It's loose. I clamped it. Jed clamp it. Good old Barnaby Jones. All right, come on now. You ever notice on that if you ever watched Barnaby Jones or the reruns, I noticed they had a bad lighting guy. It was full of shadows, and when they appear on the scene, you can see the mirrors or whatever they use to reflect the light back on the actors moving around. Notice that sometime if you watch the reruns. It's a good show, but poor production. All right, here we go. Let's try this new Milwaukee tool here. This is pretty cool. I'm so glad I bought this. If I can get it even on there, let's see. Nope, I can't get it to reach. What's going on now? Oh, there we go. Look at that, they were hand tight. I can't even see, I'm just guessing. Maybe I should try to look. There we go, got it. Maybe that's how you do it these days, hand tight. It's the new standard.
Hope oil don't come pouring out of here. There's no lock washer on the second one unless it fell down. Oh, there it is, see? Was there a lock washer? No. Let's see if it worked. Well, gas came out now. Feels frozen. Let's see if I can. That's frozen. All right, I just got this. I backed it out of there. This is the engine fuel line, and I don't think, as we travel to the back of the car, I don't think, well, it is the same size. Okay, so that means that rubber, oh cool, well, I guess that rubber hose is supposed to be on there. Let me take it off these tie wraps, and we'll compare. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, look at that, they do match. There's just a slight, I may have to bend that end up, or this may work out just fine. So I do have some new hoses. That's probably the original 1960 hose and clamps. Okay, that's about the easiest job ever. This okay, that was about the easiest job ever. This fuel line just slips, as you can see, right into place, and it matches the silhouette of the return line precisely the same. As you can see here, all the bends. This was actually the area that was folded in half. This is the area that was folded in half for shipping purposes. But yeah, it follows right along all the bends. We may have to do just a little bit here. So I'm going to clip it back on and put the little ties that hold it onto the body back in, and we'll see how it fits up there at the tank. Then I do have to cut a piece of the return off. I've got a replacement piece that's going to go on that. I just got to get a fitting. Oh, that means my back. So just a quick tutorial on fuel pumps. This sucker, which is feather light, failed, but it's a typical, something loose in there too. Just not very well built. It does have the ideal type of pump lever here, but it's just a stamped, lightweight piece of junk that we've all seen. And this one is the one that I bought, and the reason this is superior, just one reason alone, is this one's rebuildable, as you can see. And if you go online, you'll find rebuild kits that match this one here. So if you have a problem, at least, you can pull it apart and take a look. The other type you can't. And it has a reinforced lever here. If I put that in the light, you can see that a little bit better. See there? And on the Pontiac 389, the eccentric that spins around, it does have a freewheeling bearing type of a unit, so it doesn't rub on this, so to speak, and generate friction or anything like that. And it doesn't move very much to pulsate on there. Here's the company, just so you know. Now this is kind of odd. USMW, of course they are made in China too. USMW. But it does say mechanical fuel pump. It's got the part number on there, certified OEM quality, reliability. But it does say contain 12 volt DC. 12 volt DC. Well, that's some type of mistake there, even though we got the right fuel pump. But anyway, let's get it. Let's put that on the Bonneville. One nice thing about the Pontiac 289, well, the Bonneville, we'll just call it the Bonneville, 1960 Bonneville, is look right here. You climb
into the engine compartment. And there's a place to put your feet, or bypass filter, or other mechanisms. Look at all this room up here. But anyway, I thought this is kind of a nifty deal here. Let me see if I can get the camera positioned. Yeah, right there. Built on the fuel line to the carburetor, the feed, the bracket for the power steering pump has this nice, a lot of this stuff people rig up. But this looks factory, and I thought that was kind of thoughtful of them to put this bracket here for the nipple for the fuel pump. Now, I would have thought that the feed to the carburetor would be a solid line from the fuel pump on up, but apparently, I'll try to get the light better. Apparently, they didn't do it that way. Got the fuel pump all mounted up, sealed and everything. And the worry thing, what's worrisome to me on that one, it was too easy. Every other fuel pump I've put in, you had to struggle with the lever up against the centric in there, but I guess it was just positioned just right. But we'll find out when it runs. So, I was reading something about antifreeze, and, the traditional green coolants really don't do much for rust protection. They really don't. They wear out real quick, so that acid organic or organic acid technology is really what you need. So this sucker, I'm kind of worried about this engine, but it's going to need a lot of flushing. I see a lot of corrosion throughout the cooling system where the heater lines are and all that. So we'll see if we can flush it out with some acid really good, and then put that newer type of antifreeze in there, and hopefully prolong the system and prevent more corrosion. Okay, we got everything set up for the next step here, and that's to put the sending unit in the gas tank. That's all ready. I got the new fuel line put in, and then this filler neck will slide in to the front of the tank, and that's going to be the real pain, is getting it back up in here into the car. So before I do that, make sure I got my straps and the bolts all ready, and then I can put this up in there. So yeah, right now let's get this thing positioned in place. And then for the, like I said, I got my fuel line in, and then this is the part of the return line, the fuel return line. On the rusty part I had to cut. I'm going to stick this in place of that. So let's see how this fits. One little helpful hint, if you got screws that you want to keep together, is I use a lid, just an old oil cap lid, and just put the screws in that lid and put a piece of tape over it, so you got a nice little thing that holds your screws so you don't lose the ones in particular. I think it's more convenient than a baggie or something else, so works great. See, there you go. Oops, start over again. All right, so I'm putting in this, I lined that gasket. There's actually an alignment mark on the rubber gasket. I'm surprised the aftermarket one did come with that. And I did have to sand that surface down because it was kind of rough from some of the sealant they put in there and some of the undercoating, I guess. So I put a fuel resistant gasket sealer on there, and use some of this emery paper to sand it down just a little bit. Yeah, always, before you put it in too, test the sending unit with a ohm meter just to see what the full range is, so it should match with what it should, so you don't have any problems with your gauge. If you do, or you can't get a sending unit, you have to use something else,
There's aftermarket electronic compensators that you can dial in exactly what the range is supposed to be, and it'll convert it over to match your aftermarket gauge. It's I wish I had on the tip of my tongue, but yeah, there's a device that does that for you. All right, this turned out to be a pretty in-depth operation. We sealed the tank up, and I stripped out 2 bolts because I didn't clean. So now I found another. I stole 2 bolts from my Corvair pickup, which is the same size but just slightly different thread. But the thing I didn't do yesterday was clean out the existing threads, which I'm going to do right now with these. Then we'll get back to regular business. We'll get this tank in there, and I'll finish with the brakes. Did the front passenger side yesterday. Had to leave. We'll know, won't we, if it leaks? But yeah, it's torqued down pretty good. It's got that rubber on there. I'll just order more of these Corvair ones and drill out the rest and re-tap them later if I have to. Anyhow. Okay, I got the nozzle in. The secret is getting that sucker in. You gotta have the nozzle on the tank first. Now let's see if I can twist it back up. Oops. It's really 2 people's job to make this one easier. There we go, cool, I got it. Yep, I did. I think I did. Whoops, why don't there's a little track up there. There it goes. Should fit. Just barely. There we go, cool, got it. I bought a bunch of extra hardware just in case. I forgot the washers. Yeah, I got some lock washers, even though I don't think this really needs it. I think I got the right one. This one has the pad. Cool, got it. Well, that was actually easier than I thought it would be. Because it was tough getting this out of here because of that vent tube, or the fill tube. Yep, this is the return line. I'll have to rig up a new one of that. And then we'll reshape this feed hose. It's supposed to bend down a little bit more and turn. Let's see if I can. Pretty flexible. There, yeah, that'll work. This is the electric fuel pump. We don't need that really. Okay. I don't know if you can see. This is a cool little device from old Milwaukee. I just put a ratchet socket end on here, and it usually works pretty darn good. Oh, I found the padding strap for this one, so I'm going to put it on. Put it back on here. So this is the return line here. And we just got to put another piece on it. I've got a end that connects to here. And then this, where is it? Piece of hose over here. Will connect these two nicely. I just got to
bend this one over just a little bit more and we'll be in business. Clamp it on somehow over here, the clampets. Yeah, we'll clamp it on right here. I'm gonna find the clamp. I know it's down here somewhere. And here is the fill tube. So you can see how that goes in there. See there? It just barely fits up in there. And you got to screw it on up there. And if you really enjoy our material here and want to see more, please subscribe so you'll be able to see the next update. And of course, like the videos, and that'll get us up in the algorithm to continue on. Thank you.